Hello, my friends. Happy summer. We're well into summer by several days now, and that's pretty amazing. And this week, my super amazing celebrity is a PowHERful Woman. She is a coach and she is pretty awesome to talk to. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Shelley Meche'tte. And really, let me know how you feel about it. Let me know if you want more of these people, or let me know if there's anybody in particular you want me to chat with. I'm always open to suggestions. I hope you're having a beautiful sunny day. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Hi, my friends. Welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and this is Heather, and I am super excited that you're here. You are going to hear some tips and some tricks and some ideas to help you live your happiest and healthiest self. I call it Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, back to me, then you can take better care of others, and we can all make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way, and I am super happy that you're here. There it is. Hello, my friend. I hope that you are having a fabulous day. This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast. And this is a Friday, so that means that it's a fabulous celebrity. And Shelley, I will mispronounce your last name.
That is all right. Most people say Shelley Meche'tte, and I crack up laughing because a young lady who had called me Shelley Meche'tte, and she asked if that was correct. I said it's Meche, and that's exactly what she did. She said, "Okay, I'm going to hold on to it because you just be slicing up stuff when you
Right?
speak."
I
So
like the machete.
every time when someone says, or asks me how to pronounce it, that just comes up all the time where I'm like, I love that story of her talking about me just slicing and dicing, but it's Meche.
Mache. Well, it's funny because because I've been studying French. I thought it was mache. That's what I was, but it's probably just because I've been studying French. Otherwise, I would have said Shelley Machete and imagine you hacking your way through the jungle of, I don't know.
Yes, I have been asked more than once if it's French, and I'm like, not that I know of, but I'm gonna go with it because it sounds like a great story. So, hey,
let's just say that. It's like,
that's what I
so
doesn't that sound good?
it does sound amazing. So you are a French machete hacking through the stuff. And I have to tell you, when I saw that you were, well, I want to know about you, but when I saw it was PowHERful Woman, I'm like, yeah, let's talk
Yes,
about that too. So
yes.
some info, like, let's hear, like, how did you get into this, or what inspired you to go down this path? And what do you do? They don't
Yes,
know
I am a
yet.
certified life purpose and confidence coach. My passion is women understanding who they are and living beyond their titles. So I help women achieve authentic happiness by understanding life clarity, balance, and confidently walking in purpose. I believe that we were called to be so many wonderful things, but when we don't understand who we are and that person that we've been called to be, we take on so much in life. We become other things for other people without understanding who we were meant to be.
And
And
we
so
stay really
that,
small sometimes too, right?
yes. And so I love being able to work with women. And now I'm actually niching down a little bit and working more with moms because moms are just so overwhelmed. Moms are really trying to create that balance, whether it's work-life balance outside the home, inside the home, creating those healthy boundaries, trying to really get that self-care that they need. Moms are taking on so much.
And moms have been, the go-to person for a long time, but I do agree it's the increase of expectation has been almost exponential because,
Hmm.
oh, now you're going to be a career woman and a mom, and by the way, now you have to do it with everybody at home.
Right,
Right?
right. And it's a lot. It can be a lot of pressure. And the crazy part is a lot of times, even though pressure is coming from the outside, we're bringing pressure in on ourselves as well. And we have pressure to put that cape on that says superwoman. We have pressure to be a powerful woman. And when I'm speaking of our power, I'm not talking about us taking on extra things, external things. I'm talking about us understanding who we are as women and actually releasing some things off of our plate in order to become more powerful in the things that we've been called to do.
Right. And no is one of those super powerful words.
Isn't that a great word?
So
Isn't that awesome?
toddlers know it
Yeah.
immediately.
And don't they exercise it?
They have no problem. No, 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 no. And I don't know, how does it come out of us that we forget how to say no?
And you know what? That's a really good question. And I believe because expectations, we're taught, be kind, be nice, be this. And there's nothing wrong with being kind. We should be kind, but not at the expense of our own, satisfaction.
It's
So
that
as we're
politeness
growing,
too,
I
right?
believe we're taught to minimize us. Not that it's a deliberate thing in order, but I do think that's what we're taught. Minimize you, minimize your feelings, suck it up, be nice, always give to the other person. One of the things that I loved about growing up is that my mom allowed me to have toys to myself. And so I had a section of toys that when people came over, we could play with those toys. But then I had a section of toys that my mom specifically said I did not have to share. That now I couldn't bring those toys out, but those toys were specifically for me. And I didn't have to share those toys with other kids that came over. And for me, it really was something that I had an opportunity to learn that I can keep some things to myself and it's okay. It's not selfish. But I think a lot of times as we grow, we end up getting that message that anytime we keep things to ourselves or reserve things just for us, then it's selfish. Now we're trying to rewind that and say, hey, that attitude is killing us.
That's so interesting that she did that.
Yes.
I've never heard of a mom doing that before. What do you think made her think of that?
I really don't know. I think she really looked at the fact that I was really into Barbies. I love, love, love Barbies. And I think she really took time as a mom to look into the fact of this is something that I really kind of love to just have that special time. I love playing Barbie by myself. I created a whole world, a whole life. And I think she was really intuitive in looking and seeing this is just a part of me that I enjoy by myself. And so for her to say, you know what? You don't have to share that part. You can keep that part to yourself. I didn't realize it at that time, but I really do believe that growing up, it really helped me be able to say, I don't have to share everything.
And that is big. I mean, I'm the oldest of four, and I don't remember having anything to myself ever. Everything was community.
Right,
He
right.
touched my things. She did this. I did that. Oh my
Now,
gosh.
mind you, I was an only child for 10 years, but again, there was company that would come over.
Right.
But again, my mom made it clear you don't have to share this part of you. You can keep that to yourself and it's okay.
That's so good. That's so good. And I wonder, like that was the foresight that she had for whatever reason, like the instinct she had was she recognized something in you versus um, some people that I know who are now adults have talked about, they didn't know they had their own voice because their parents said, this is how you have to be. You have to be. And often as women, polite, accepting, as you
Mhm.
were saying, the be nice. And it sometimes you don't find your own voice again without
Absolutely
smack up the
true.
head or something like,
Absolutely true. But here's what's funny, Heather. I still had that side though. And so it kind of becomes a little inwardly conflicting because I
right?
come from that era of children should be seen and not heard.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so that's the era that I come from. So I still had that, and a part of it is nothing wrong with that. Respect your elders, do this, do that. So I just think that for me, trying to put those two things together of you can have your own over here, but you know, don't speak unless spoken to, and don't do this and don't and be a young lady and da da da. Meshing those two things together, that was a lot of emotional confusion.
How did you work that one out?
Oh, so we're going to go later in life.
That's okay. We can jump around. We got a time machine.
Right. You mean after the crash?
Yeah. We could start at the
After the
crash.
identity issues?
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
I really think it all came down to the whole identity issues. I ended up falling into a verbally abusive relationship because I did not know the clues. I did not see certain things. I thought I had a voice. That voice had been minimized. And then I just came out like rawr. And I think I inwardly terrorized myself and my poor husband because he had to get he had to get that side of it while I'm exerting myself,
You didn't
but
know how to turn it down a little bit.
right,
You're like, I'm all out.
right. So it was either this side or this side. So there were a lot of things that I had to bring together. I've always been an independent person, so I've always done for myself. I had an example of an independent mom who was independent, loving, caring, stern, all of these things. So trying to mesh all of this and say, I'm all of these things. I don't have to pick and choose. I can be every part. Today, I may not be the woman who has lots of strength and lots of this and lot. Today, I may be that woman who needs solitude and silence and needs someone to come and hug me. Tomorrow, I may be assertive and it's A, B, C, D, and I'm not moving and I'm not budging. The next day, it may be I need this self time and I need you to not interrupt it. I can be every part of that woman without taking from myself. And that was the balance that I had to learn.
And the people around you, like I just think about, like, I have a agreement with my partner that um I can just say to him, this is this is who I am today. and
Yeah,
and he doesn't feel threatened or upset or overreact, or he's just like, okay, that's fine.
right.
But it does take it, like, there is that aspect of, you got to figure out what you need, but
Hmm.
it's also, you are no person is an island. You got to figure out how to be able to be that, and and have the relationships around you support what in whatever way you need
Absolutely.
for that, right? So
Absolutely.
how did your poor husband do? He seems like he came out all right.
We've been together for 21 years, so I think we pretty much, have made it. But I remember him saying to me, because I was so much of a, don't tell me anything to do, don't say this, don't say that, because again, I had all of these different things coming together that I had to learn how to balance so that I can figure out who is Shelley, who is this woman, and where's this metamorphosis, taking place. But I remember something was on the floor and he was like, "Oh, take that to the kitchen." And I was like, "Excuse you? You do not tell me to do anything. You can ask me to take it to the kitchen." But I remember my husband saying, "There's never a time in life that I'm trying to control you or a desire to control you. I married you because I want every part of you, the strength, the sensitivity, everything. So can you at least, if something comes across wrong to you, can you at least look at the fact that I'm never out to intentionally hurt you? Can you let that be the lead, when
That's
there's
smart.
something that doesn't feel right? Can you lead with that? I'm never out to intentionally hurt you. Will I hurt you? Of course, I'm human. I'm never going to say I'm never going to hurt you, because that's a lie. But can you lead with, he's never intentionally out to hurt me, and let that be the guide? And that has always stuck with me.
That was so smart for him to say that,
Mhm.
right?
And it was very gentle, and it put it back on me. And I think that was wonderful, because I do know your heart, I do know your desires, I do know you, I do know the man. And so it was a very wonderful way for him to exert where he was, assert his feelings, as like, hey, step back just a little bit. But for him to give me the space to not say that I was wrong, but just say, can you reevaluate, before
Right.
you jump at me?
Right. And it's interesting. I spoke with a woman recently, and she coaches academics about being stressed out, and we were talking about the kind of conversations you have with partners. And she said, often your reaction, which is what was happening, I think, for you, your reaction comes from what's going on inside of you, not actually what
Mm-hmm.
the person said. And she said that,
Yes.
one day her husband said to her, "Could you mow the lawn?" Fact. He just said, "Could you mow the lawn?" What she heard was, "You haven't mowed the lawn yet. What have you been doing all day?" And so she
Right.
said,
Right.
what he said wasn't what I heard. My story started swirling around, and she just realized what was going on. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's me
Right.
reacting to what I think he's saying
Mm-hmm.
instead of what's actually going on."
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And
And
she
it's,
narrowed into us once again, understanding who we are, the person that we are, being comfortable with that person, and learning how to allow those different things to blend.
and I also like to always sometimes, and I don't think that the PowHERful Woman is well, it could be kind of a feminist stance, because women have always taken on a certain role. But I like the example of your husband, because being a powerful woman does not take anything away from your partner if it happens to be a man. Um,
Absolutely
you
not.
don't. It's not like you're trying to make yourself bigger or more powerful than someone or overreact. You're just saying, I am a solid person and this is my human needs and
Hmm.
way of operating. And what are your thoughts on that one?
Absolutely. And the powerful woman, it didn't even come from any type of feminist ideology. It actually came from the fact that I was running another organization and I was trying to figure out, where do I belong in life? I was running a youth program which people loved, but I was still dissatisfied. I was still unfulfilled. And yet I was doing this great thing. I didn't have the satisfaction within. And I remember going home and asking God, what is the problem? This is great. I'm doing something for the community. I'm doing something for families. I'm doing something, for kids. What's the problem? And I remember God saying to me, you're doing the right thing before the wrong people.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes. And that was like, what? You know?
I know. It's like you get the lightning bolt. You're like, hold on.
Hold on, right? And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, tell me more, because you're closing this conversation off.
Yep.
And I remember God saying, what are you passionate about? What's your passion? Who's your passion? And it was just in an instant. I didn't even think about it. I said women. I love women. And from that second on, I said, wow, the thing that I'm giving to this youth program, which is empowerment, understanding yourself, finding your voice, who you are, who you've been created to be. I'm supposed to be giving this to women because so many women have lost who they are throughout their journey because they're so busy giving everything to everyone else. I want women to feel powerful.
Right.
And that is where that came from. I had a girlfriend who had an organization called the Leadership Academy, and I called her up and I said, I am stealing your her because I want women to feel powerful. And she's like, I like it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's interesting that you recognized, because if you had told anybody I was doing this amazing program for youth and it was really successful and I wasn't happy, they would go, "What?"
Hmm.
Because
Exactly.
that's because, it's important. We've got to support the youth. We need to make sure we're
Hmm.
doing all this. And you could have felt obligated, and your polite, kind self would have said, "Okay, fine. I'll
But
keep
I
doing it."
did kind of feel obligated because I'm like, so now what? You're just going to walk away from kids. You're just going to do this. So all of these things were coming at me. And that's where, once again, knowing who you are, knowing what you've been created to do, it outweighs me living for other people's expectations.
Whoa, that's good.
So
That's good.
and that's where I was able to stand up and say, is this gonna hurt some people because I've been doing this for so long? Absolutely. But guess what? I hurt more people when I don't live in purpose,
True.
because then they're not able to experience what they have been called to do because I refuse to walk in who I've been called to be.
Right. And it's interesting, there's a coach I know who, when people aren't living their purpose and doing what they're meant to do, he said, "Who are you to deny the rest of us what you're supposed to be doing here? That's
I
so
love it.
selfish."
Yes, I do. I think I'm with them. That is so selfish.
Right?
Because we're connected to different people in this life. And when I choose not to walk in the gifts and the talents that have been given to me, they're not for me. They're for me to bless others. So why would I deny others to have that freedom, that blessing, that breakthrough? Because I've chosen to live by expectations of others that have absolutely nothing to do with the woman I was created to be.
Right. Expectation is murderer of dreams and joy and
Yes.
and
Yes. And you said a mouthful right there. It is because I'm expected to make you happy because I'm expected to be polite, selfless, this, and that's why we're drowning inside. And I decided I don't want to drown anymore. I want to live a life that's filling, that's purposeful, that's filled with authentic happiness. And I can't do that while, once again, I'm living your expectations of me. And that's all across the board. Even in relationships, I had to come to terms and say, I can't even live my husband's expectations of what a wife is supposed to be. Now, you can let me know the things that you desire, and I can let you know who I am as a woman, and we can come and we can, because marriage and relationships are all about compromise, we can do that, but I will not kill who I am to satisfy your ideologies.
right. And that is a conversation that you should have before you get married,
You
ideally,
are
but
so right. Forget about the marriage, honey. Before you step into anything serious, have that conversation. Okay?
right.
Do not.
But even before then, you gotta know who you are to be able to have the conversation.
Absolutely. Because how do we even have it if we haven't taken time to know who we are, what our
Right.
likes are, what our dislikes are, what our boundaries are, what we're willing to compromise on? There's nothing wrong with compromise. To have a good relationship, there has to be give and take. But what are those things that you're like, this is what I'm willing to do a give and take on? This is the solid no.
Right. It's I know a therapist who calls it the non-negotiables. What are your
I do too,
non-negotiables?
actually.
Do you?
I do.
Brilliance all around. The non-negotiables of life. It's like,
Yes,
this is what I won't compromise on. This is
exactly.
non-negotiable. The rest of it, let's talk.
The rest of it, let's talk and let's see where we can both come to a happy medium.
Right. So when you did have that realization and you had your, thunderbolt of, oh my God. So then the next, so I call that awareness, like the awareness comes in, you're like, the lights turn on, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's like there's angels singing, but then you have to take an action, right? That you can have an
Hmm.
awareness. Some people will have an awareness and never take an action.
Right.
So then how did you find that courage to step up? Like what did you do to make the shift you needed to make?
I, first of all, recognized that I was unhappy and that I was responsible for that. Because before then, it's like, because of you, this is this. Because of this is because of this. And I had to really look in the mirror. I was boohoo crying, doing that ugly cry, y'all. Any of y'all ever
Oh,
did that ugly cry?
man, I don't even know what a pretty cry looks like.
It was a real ugly cry, y'all. And I was sitting in the mirror doing that. And I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. But what you have to realize is you're responsible for any inner peace, happiness, joy. That's on you. Now, yes, circumstances causes us to have to go through different things in life, but we get to choose the attitude in which we're going to do that. And as I sat in that mirror, boohoo crying, I realized that there were some things that I hadn't come to terms with in my life. I hadn't come to terms with the fact that I had abandonment issues. I hadn't come to terms with the fact that I still didn't really like me. I hadn't come to
Right.
terms with the fact that I still felt insecure because I dealt with colorism. So I had to come to terms with these things, and I allowed myself to mourn. See, those are things that we don't allow ourselves to do. I was honest and I said, people have hurt you because you've dealt with colorism. People have torn you down and told you that you're nothing and you're ugly and you're pitiful and you're all because of your skin tone.
Right.
It's okay to mourn that pain. And I allowed myself to mourn and to be hurt and to cry. I didn't have to be strong. I didn't have to pretend like it didn't hurt. It hurt. And
Right.
finally, I told myself it's okay to hurt, to be mad, to be angry, to want to scream. And I allowed myself to have all of those emotions. And then after I had those emotions, I stood in that mirror and I said, now you tell me one thing, just one, don't make it too heavy. One thing that you love or like about yourself. And we're going to rebuild everything that life, society, and people have torn from you. And that
Right.
one thing that I found that I liked, because my whole philosophy is to start with one. Instead of doing generic affirmations, that's great. But I believe that I like to start with personalized affirmations because it truly is what I believe about myself. So I don't get in the mirror and wake up going, oh, you fierce, you're bold, you're this, you're that. I don't feel that way. But what I do wake up and say is, girl, you got the baddest smile I done ever seen. Your
That's
smile is
good.
pretty. And with that one, because the whole thing is to start with one, then I was able to build on that. Because now I'm cheesing everywhere because I like my teeth. And that's bringing empowerment, real empowerment back to me because it's a truth that I can stand on. I couldn't stand on the truth of, oh, yeah, you're a magnificent woman. I don't believe that, but I do believe I got some gorgeous teeth.
Right. And you do got some gorgeous teeth.
Thank you.
And it's interesting because I've heard coaches say, stand in the mirror and say, I love you 10 times. And for some people, that is not going to happen. Like
Hmm.
looking yourself in the eye and saying that, it's like they'd rather, I don't know, do
Yes.
anything else in the world than have to and even if you're alone, standing there just saying you love yourself 10 times in a row is a no-goer. So then they don't make any progress.
It's so difficult. And it's so funny because in my book, 70 Days of Happy, that is one of the things that I do say. But I mentioned in that chapter, today you're going to do one of the hardest things that you've ever done. And I don't tell you to stand in the mirror and say, I love you 10 times, but I do say, get in the mirror, look at yourself, and just say, I love you, Shelley. And it's going to be the hardest thing that you've done. And stay in it. If you're crying, stay in it. If it's uncomfortable, stay in it. If it takes 5 minutes, stay in it. If you have to run as soon as you say, if you have, I love you, Shelley, and run away, just stay with it
And you
and
know what I
incorporate
noticed?
that.
And what because I tried it. It isn't even like I worked on myself. It is still not easy. I
It's
did
not.
it. I did it. But there's a difference between looking at yourself, like checking your hair, checking your makeup, and
Mhm.
looking at yourself,
And really seeing you and
looking
really
yourself in the
going
eye.
and really being able to say, no, I love you. Because here's what we're doing when we're saying, I love you to yourself. What you're saying without you really realizing it is there's fractures, there's failures, there's imperfections. And in all of these things, girl, I love you.
Right?
I love you. No, your baby hairs don't lay just right. I love you.
You can see them, can you?
No, no, maybe your body is not perfect. I love you. And so it begins to help us to understand that the fractures that we have, the imperfections that we have, it does not layer or it does not validate the love that we have for ourselves. And that's a hard thing to come to terms with.
And you just reminded me, like, we do have all besides all the expectations, there's that expectation as women, especially of how you're gonna look, right?
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
You don't
That
get to be
one's
imperfect. What are you talking about?
You got a jiggle over there. No, no, I don't.
So that I think that when we say that we love ourselves, I think again it could be so much harder because when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we're not just looking at ourselves going, "Oh, I love you." We're looking at ourselves and going, "One eye is bigger than the other. I don't like my lip shape." So before we even get to the exercise, we see every single thing that we absolutely hate about ourselves, and now we're like, "I don't love me." So we completely skipped.
Right? But all that's external. I mean, but when you look
Right.
at yourself in the eye, you know the internal stuff too. So you know what's
Mhm.
going on in there. But
Mhm.
it's interesting that we can say that we love other people, but how can we not turn that to
To
ourselves?
ourselves. To ourselves. We literally don't feel like we deserve to love us. And a lot of times, once again, it's because we know us. We know the things we're struggling with. We know the imperfections. So how can I love a person like that? But do you realize the person that you love is imperfect?
Yeah,
And so
exactly. But
we
we'll
need to,
accept that,
and we'll accept that,
but
but we
not
won't
in
accept it
ourselves.
for ourselves.
So crazy.
Which is why I always tell my clients to start with one thing that's true about you, because that's how we're going to build you and your confidence, not with general affirmations, in my opinion, but with you truly looking at you, whether it's external or internal. If you look at you and say, "I am the greatest baker that has ever come out of South Carolina," whatever it is, that's what's true for you. And that's what's going to build who you are. And you will get to that point because you're building your love for you. And you'll be able to stand in that mirror and say, "I really do love you," because you've been able to build on truth and what's valuable to you.
And that is that baby step.
And that is that baby step.
And you don't have, so one of the person who says that I love you 10 times said, "You won't believe yourself at first. So
Hmm.
fake it till you make it." I'm like, well, they can't even get to faking it. So let's go to, I like the go to a little bit of a truth and ease yourself into it,
Yes, that
kind
is
of
what
like
I
getting
tell my
into a hot
clients.
tub, get in
Let's
slow.
start there. Put your toe in, and
Yes.
then we'll go from there.
Right.
What does that temperature feel like? And then
Yeah.
let's move forward.
And it'll probably feel safer, so you won't have your, self-defense mechanisms come up so
Yes.
rapidly, right? Like, if you try something super hard that's, you're anxious or blocked about,
Hmm.
those walls go up so fast and they're hard to break through.
It
But if
is.
you
It
just do
is.
like a little tiny little bit that feels safe, like I can
Mhm.
just try this one thing.
Just this one thing, just that one thing. And what it does, what we don't realize is, as I tell my clients, when you stand in the mirror and you find something that you really like or love about yourself, it's doing a couple of things. It's teaching you to look at you and to look deeper, not just the physical. It doesn't matter, even if it is a physical trait, whichever it is, but it causes you to stop and look and really say, what is it about me that I like? So there's self-awareness that's in there. You're learning how to talk to yourself. So that's the second thing that it does. It teaches you how to speak to yourself, because every day you're telling yourself this one thing that you love about you. And then number three is building your confidence bucket, because once I become confident in this one thing, now I have that little nudge that I'll try something, because I tried this and it worked out. So now maybe I can try something else.
Right? You can take your bucket with you. I'm taking this
Yes,
confidence to stage 2.
exactly. Exactly. So those are the three things that you're doing when you sit with yourself and start with one.
Right? And I like that it starts to shift the inner conversation, because a lot of times, and I was saying this earlier to someone else, is there's an ongoing dialogue going on repeat in the background that you might not even really be aware of what you're saying to yourself,
Exactly.
right?
That
So
awareness, that
how do you
awareness.
stop it?
Mhm.
Like, how do you press pause on that tape or re-record it?
I'm for re-recording with the start with one. So I'm about taking those things and finding the truth to it. So the lies that people have told you, what's the actual truth to that? And do you believe that right now? Because if you don't believe that right now, let's take a step back and look at something else that you believe, and then we build on that.
So do you mean like a lie, like a negative kind of thing that someone has told you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
being aware that I guess it's good that you're aware on some level that you don't believe it, but there's some people do
Well,
believe those
some
things
people
they
are
tell
not,
them.
some people don't know that they don't believe it. So when clients come to me, let's say you don't know that, but I'm going to hear it in our conversation. For example, you may say, growing up, my mother always told me that I could never go to college. Girls like me don't go to college. I'm not that smart, or I'm not that this. So I understand that that's a lie. You may not understand that that's a lie. But what I'll try to get you to is for you to let me know what is something that you're good at. It doesn't
Right.
matter what it is. So maybe you're good at sewing. So instead of us believing that you could never go to college, we're going to build on the truth of, well, there has to be some intellect, there has to be some smartness within there, because you are natural at sewing and patterns. And so when those things come up in your mind that you could never do anything, well, that can't be true, because I'm a natural when it comes to this. So now we're, as you said it, we're re-recording,
That's so
and we're
good.
taking the negative, but we're finding the truth to counteract that.
Right. And some re-recordings take a little while,
Hmm.
you know.
And time and practice. And that's the other thing that people don't get. This is an everyday thing. This is something that you're practicing until it becomes a habit. And even after it becomes a habit, don't be shocked if something else creeps in. We live in a life that's filled with negativity, that's filled with people constantly harming one another, that's filled with people trying to find your faults and exploit them. So we have to be just as disciplined in counteracting those things.
Right. And um, it's like you hit a new plateau. It's like, okay, I've got that dealt with. I'm good. And then something happens. You're like, but I'm
Exactly.
back at the beginning again. You're not at the beginning.
You're
You're just at
not.
a higher, you're at a higher level. You're on a different ledge, different shelf
And
with,
now it's time to re-record, readjust, whatever it is.
right. It's wearing a new outfit. Your foibles are wearing a new outfit. So you got to like,
I
I
like
recognize you,
that. I like that one.
the new outfit.
Yes.
And it is true. There's a book that I read. Have you heard of The Big Leap?
No, I haven't.
It's by a gentleman named Gay Hendricks, and he talks it indirectly in a way. He's talking about self-sabotage all the time,
Mhm,
where
mhm,
you're doing really well and you hit this level where you're like, yeah, I'm doing super well. And then it feels like, oh, I don't deserve to be here. So you
mhm.
sabotage yourself and you knock yourself
Yep,
back down. So when you reach that new level, I always say celebrate your new level and just watch out for the little
absolutely,
torpedoes coming at you.
absolutely,
Usually you shot at
absolutely.
yourself.
Right, right, because it comes in, so subtly that a lot of times we don't notice.
So when you start to feel that discomfort again, or you don't have to go right back to the one thing anymore, do you? Because you've graduated to high school or
Exactly, and you've
something.
been able to build on that. I was just talking to one of my daughters today, and we were talking about some of the things that I've dealt with, and one of those things being imposter syndrome. And so, and I was saying, but I have the tools to help me through that. And one of the things that I do, if it begins to seep in, because when you go to a new level, then those thoughts can come in and like, who do you think you are? But I
Right.
told her, I pull out my receipts. I will get online. I will pull up my name online. I will look at the things that I've done, places I've been featured, guest appearances that I've made. I pull the receipts out and I go, you can't be an imposter because you're helping people, you're doing this. I pull out client testimonials so that I can remind myself you're just going to that next level. But you've taken all of these things, you work for these things, you've done these things. Look at the receipts. And then
Right.
let's go to that next level.
And it's so true that imposter syndrome is so common pretty
Hmm.
much everywhere. For everything you try to do that's new, you have that "who are you" voice.
Who are you?
I don't know where that voice came from, and I recognize that it's trying to keep me safe, the "who are you" voice, but at the same time, you have to say, "Well, I am me, and who am I not to
Exactly.
try
And this
even if
is
I
what I've
fail?"
been and this is what I've been gifted to do. And this is what I've been created for. I have to pull those things out because if not, I have to work the tools. People think a lot of times that when you're a coach, you're not working the tools. I absolutely am.
You have to work the tools
Yes.
because
I'm not sitting on the other side like, "Oh, yeah, no." I have to pull those tools out of my bag just like I'm telling you to pull out of yours.
yeah, and it's never ending. You don't hit some new plateau where sunshine and rainbows and everything's perfect. We don't live in Pleasantville,
No.
right? Not
No.
yet, although I think it'd be
No.
boring, but and you do so, and I always tell clients, like, I keep practicing on myself. I'll be totally honest with them. I'm not perfect, right? I
Exactly.
You gotta keep working on it yourself, and this goes back to something you said it earlier in the beginning was being responsible for yourself and recognizing that you people can help you, but you gotta be responsible for you, right? You gotta
Absolutely.
decide what you want and, um, claim it.
Yes. Claim it and do the work, and do the work.
Yeah.
You know, do the work, follow it. And it's not always going to be easy, it's not always going to be comfortable, but if you stick with it, it's always rewarding.
Right, it is. Oh my gosh, I have a sticker that I keep above my desk that says, "I am enough,"
Yes,
right? Which
absolutely.
battles my imposter syndrome, right?
See, you working your tools,
I'm
you working
working it,
your
I'm working
tools.
it. And for people who don't have like, people will say, "Oh, yeah, sure, Shelley, well, she's been on this, and she wrote this book, and she did that, so of course she can do that." I'm like, "Everybody's got some good that they have done."
Everybody has receipts, whether
Everybody.
that receipt is I'm gifted in dance, whether that receipt is I play piano by ear, whether that receipt is I am an amazing caretaker. You have receipts. It's just that we have decided that certain ones are better than other ones.
So true. We
And they're not. It's about what feeds you because my receipts are going to do nothing for you.
Right,
Absolutely nothing. If you go out and try to get what I've gotten or do what I've done, you'll still be unfulfilled because it's not what's filling your soul.
right. I can't be Shelley.
No. I cannot be Heather.
I wasn't meant to be Shelley, which is fine because if we were all Shelleys, well,
That'd be
that's
too much. I'll let you know
that's
now.
too
That'd just be
yeah,
too much.
too much. We'd drive each other crazy. So tell and you referred to it briefly, your book. Remind me the name of your book because
Yes, my
I'm gonna
book
be getting
is
my signed autograph copy sometime
You know
soon.
you can. You know you can. It's 70 days of happy. Life is better when you smile. And what it is it's 70 days of a journal, of a personal journey that you take with yourself so that you will begin to understand that happiness is not built around us, but it's actually within us. And when we start to look at those things and really live those things, that's when we're able to really live in a place of happiness.
And it's almost like you so I think of babies. Babies are happy except when they need a diaper or hungry or something, but if their needs are looked after, then they're happy.
Yes.
So, where does the unhappy come from? Maybe as adults, needs not being met, but we don't know how to cry anymore to say, "Feed me or water me," or whatever. So, our natural state is happy. So, you gotta figure out what part of you is not being met to make
Mm.
you unhappy,
Yeah, that's
right?
good right there.
Sometimes
That's
I
good.
surprise even myself.
That's good right there. I like that.
You can take that, run with it.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's because it just came to me like I was walking through the park earlier today, and I was watching the little kids playing. There's just wee like 4-year-olds running around in the water fountain, happy as can be.
I
It's like,
love watching kids.
wow, they're so happy.
Yes.
They don't have drama. They don't have stories they're telling them. Well, they
Right.
might have. They've started probably to tell themselves stories,
You
but
know, but they're not concerned about how you're looking at them. They're
no.
taking what they have and they're loving every moment of it. And they're in that moment. They're not worried about what's going to happen 10 minutes later. They're really in that moment and they take it for everything that it's worth.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
so
kids.
if you're feeling down, go watch kids play in the water park. I
I love
mean,
it.
seriously,
I
they
love
are
it.
hilarious. And it's just like, "Ee, running, running, running."
Yes,
And even when they're unhappy, 5 minutes later, they're not.
right. They don't hold on to things like we do as adults.
No.
You know,
So we
there's so much that we can take from them. I live not too far from an elementary school, and if I'm home, I can catch them sometimes coming out for playtime. And I hear screams and yells, and and some of them sound like you're trying to kill them because they trying to like run away. And every now and then, I'll look out my window because I can see the playground from my window, and you'll see these kids just running and jumping and turning and flipping, and the sounds of them laughing and yelling and screaming, it brings so much joy to me. And I could be doing my work and I start smiling, and I'll look and I'll peek out and I'll watch them running around the yard, and I'm reminded of pure happiness,
right?
authentic happy.
Yeah. They haven't bought their suitcase yet to carry their stuff around in. But I can't be happy. I got this suitcase full of stuff, right?
And I just love it. It's the purest form of happiness, and I love it.
Yeah. So, and that's, I guess, I mean, helping moms, like they see those little kids all the time, best and worst of them, and
Hmm.
they would be able to recognize how happy those little kids are because they see them all the time, right?
Yes.
So, helping the moms reconnect with that, remember being that happy.
Yes.
Can you remember being that happy?
Hmm.
And then there's something you have for people that we're going to put into the show notes and everything. What is the title of it?
Absolutely. For those women, and again, I will be niching down a little bit very soon. So for those women and moms who are feeling a little bit overwhelmed and the disconnect between who you were before you became a mom and who you are now, I have an amazing free guide, 5 powerful ways to discover your purpose, and it's going to help you reconnect with the woman and person you are outside of being a mom.
Can non-moms use it too?
Absolutely.
Because the podcast
Absolutely.
is called Back to Me, but not in a selfish way.
Yes.
As
And
we
I
were
want
saying,
you to get back to you.
right? Even as we said in the beginning, it's like it's not selfish to take care of yourself and know what you need,
Exactly.
right? And
And
I
part of
always want
taking
people to
care of
know that,
you is recognizing who you are in
right?
every aspect of yourself
And being okay with that.
and being okay with that.
Not feeling like you have to be a Kardashian or
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, we glamorize aspects of certain people, the Instagram influencers, all these big names, but I don't think they're happy people.
Some of them may not be. And even in that, because material things don't give us authentic joy, they just don't.
No,
They can give you temporary things, but it will never give you the inner peace, the inner fulfillment, the satisfaction. It will never give you those things authentically. They just won't.
right? And yeah, I've just I saw an ad recently with Kim Kardashian in it. That's why I thought of her. It's like She doesn't really look very happy. I think she's faking it. And there's it is true. I can remember one time walking through a shopping mall for no reason at all. I was suddenly so happy. There was nothing
Mm.
going on.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't shopping. I wasn't doing anything. Just suddenly I had that inner joy bubbles coming up. And I'm
Yes.
like, wow,
The
it's
simplicities of life, I believe that that brings the greatest joy. I really
right.
do. And when we get back to our passions and the things that truly make us happy, we're able to take the blows and the hardships of life, and we're able to turn inward and say, what are those simplistic things? What is it about me? What is it about my surrounding? What is it that makes me authentically happy? And that's the thing that's going to help us push forward.
And we have, I think, lost track of that a little bit.
I think we've lost track of that a lot of bit.
Okay, you're right. I was thinking about, actually, it's a lot, but we have, because there's people who will listen to this. I know they'll listen to it. They'll think, okay, that sounds great. What makes me happy? And then they stop because they're like, I don't know.
But
I
if they
don't
get
know.
my free guide, they're going to find out.
Okay, that is so smart.
Because you do need to find out, what is it that makes you happy.
You do.
Download that guide and
First
you'll be able
step.
to find that out.
First step. What is it? Figure out what it is, because you can't move till you know where you're going.
Absolutely.
I don't set out on a road trip if I don't know what my destination is, because
We need
who
to
knows
know.
where the hell I'll end up.
Yes,
Right?
we need to know.
It's amazing. Oh my gosh. You are a wise, wise woman.
Oh,
Don't know if anybody ever told you that.
maybe one or two, but
Maybe
I
one
like
or
when you
two.
say it.
All right. All right. I always give people the opportunity to give their final words of wisdom.
Yes.
Whatever in case we missed anything, or if there was something you're like, oh, they really need to know this. What do you got?
You know what I want people to know? I want them to know that you were created for beautiful things. You were created for more. You were created to live the life that you love. And I want you to know that you were never meant to live in this world empty, but to leave it empty. Leave everything that was given to you, all your gifts, your talents, everything. Leave this world empty, pouring everything out, but don't live it empty. Get to know who you were created to be. Get to know that person in the mirror.
That's really good. I love it. That's perfect. I can't even add anything to that. Mic drop for you.
All right. All right.
Oh my gosh, Shelley, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for
This has
sharing.
been awesome.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, really. That's why I love the celebrity chats. Like, there's so many amazing people I get to meet. So, friends, make sure you go and grab the freebies so that you know why you were here. And your book's on Amazon? Is it on all
My
over
book
the
is
place?
actually on my site, which
Okay.
is www.shelleymeche'tte.com. So you can find my book, 70 Days of Happy, right there.
Beautiful. Yes, definitely check out the book too. I'm sure I'm going to love when I grab onto it and give it a go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Be well. Be happy. Keep spreading the love.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you. Hi, my friend. Thanks so much for listening to this entire podcast. If you found it useful and you're like me and you like helping others, please feel free to share this. Give it a like. Give it a comment. If you found something useful in it, there's a chance that someone else will find something useful as well. Also, if you have any questions at all, I can absolutely help, and I would love to help. You can email me at heather@prosperityflowcoaching.com. If you want more of this awesome content, you can follow me on Instagram, Heather Stewart Coaching. You can follow me on Facebook, Prosperity Flow Coaching. And I have a personal request. I want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. And if you could give me a review, hopefully a good one, if you could share, if you could send this out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope that you find your way to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend.